Hi guys, today's reading is going to be for the collective consciousness. My name's Daniel Rusby. If you like my channel, please subscribe. Today's reading we're going to be using the Fairies Oracle cards by Brian Feud. He's a man that helped do the Dark Crystal and Labyrinth. These are very deep cards, these ones. All sorts of fairies on them. Lots of meaning in here. True, honest answers for the collective consciousness. We'll do a past, present and future reading. True, honest answers for the collective consciousness. Woohoo! Too many cards. True, honest answers for the collective consciousness. Card number 1. The Lame. Some beautiful pictures on these. Fairies aren't always what we expect them to look like, I would say. Death. The Ra. The Lame. Unconditionally giving, unconditionally receiving. She is the Lame in the same way that the McGregor is the chief of the clan of McGregor, the lame of all lames. The lame is the charitable soul in the old sense in the word charity, which is loving and giving. She knows the joy of giving without exception of expectation of return. From practicing this ourselves, we learn that there always is a return, often from the least expected source. The universe likes to keep its accounts up to date, and the Lame's job is to encourage us to keep the credit side of our cosmic accounts balanced by freely giving. We have been given the earth, the sun, the stars and the moon. We have been given the trees and the flowers and things to eat, a multitude of prospective friends. It's going to take a considerable amount of generosity to come into balance with all those gifts we have already received. When we fall out of balance in what we give and what we receive, we can have constipation or diarrhea of the spirit. Spiritual constipation makes us toxic and bloated and unable to deal with more intake. Spiritual diarrhea makes us energetically depleted, limp and needy. The spiritual forms of these particular malfunctions are entirely a result of our choices. But if things are not going well for you, the Lame suggests you think again. If you're pushing at something, and it can often help greatly just to back off, relax about it and let the energy flow. If at the same time you back up from your efforts and put your energy into the universe elsewhere, the energy just naturally has to flow back to you in the most appropriate and generous form. The universe also has its accounts balanced. Study the Lame picture. A discussion group member wrote, "The Lame is still bugging me. She looks passive but watchful. I think she feels that this giving business needs a bit more explanation. It's about being ready to do that sometimes quite small thing just when it's needed. A pinch of fairy dust in the right place at the right time works wonders, but big clouds of fairy dust just makes everyone sneeze. This is true. Sometimes a small bit of helpfulness now prevents a big need later. And sometimes a big thing is needed right from the beginning." Another oracle reader noted that the Lame wings looked a bit tattered and wondered if this indicated that it's sometimes appropriate to give until it hurts. Yes, it is, the Lame says. Not as habit, not as a sort of martyrdom, but only on rare occasions when it's truly needed. One of the lame's charming customs is to give through whatever pair of hands is nearest, providing that they allow her to do so. Do you let the lame give through your hands, or do you put them in your pockets and hold back, holding on to what is yours? If so, you're missing a lot of fun, some interesting experiences and spiritual growth. Starter reading. If you're stuck or blocked in a situation and the lame turns up in a reading, you'll probably need to stop focusing on what you are trying to accomplish and simply give to others freely and generously and unconditionally. Try a few random acts of kindness, unconditionally given, of course. Go do some volunteer work else somewhere. Mow your elderly neighbour's lawn, or take some homemade soup or some flowers from your garden to someone you know who is ill. Give some help to a co-worker just because they need it. Give to a needy stranger, whether or not you think he deserves it. Take flowers into hospital and give them to a stranger at random, or give them to a nurse with compliments from the universe. Give a bit more than you think you can afford. Go a little bit further than you think you reasonably can. Empty your wallet or purse of all your cash for a beggar on the street. Don't worry, it will fill up again much faster than you might expect. A bit of karma there, eh? The present card is death. We don't want to be scared of that word. We're all going to die one day. This represents the present. Naturally, timely endings, release, liberation. Scarier, but don't. Before you panic, let's remember that if it were not for death and her hard work, we would all end up to our ears in alligators, mayflies, each other, and just about everything else. Without her to clear the world, there would be no room for growth or new life. This applies to all realms: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and other. The death card in all oracles, fairy, tarot, and others does not usually signify actual physical death. In fact, this is rarely the meaning. Rather, it indicates a significant change, one that involves letting go of the old life in order to move forward into the new. What we really fear about death is the unknown. For what next of it all? We may be experiencing great pain as a result of holding on to aspects of life that we have outgrown, but humans tend to hold on anyway because we don't know what's next. We want guarantees, and instead we get open doors into unknown, darkened spaces. Yet we go through these doors, closing them behind us. We discover a whole new world, one in which we can grow and develop into more of what we have potential of being. So here we see death, her face hidden without form, holding a dark crystal ball. She herself cannot herself see the future. Starter reading. Something has reached a natural ending and there is a substantial, irreversible change in the works. The change may be inner or outer, or most likely both. It's timely and natural, but there may be much resistance to it. Leaves fall in autumn. In the spring the trees green again with new leaves. Make room for the new in your life. Let the old go, lovingly, gently, willingly. The future is the Ra. Once upon a time there was 3 pink boys, more or less, and the Ra, who all played in Brian's son's Toby's bedroom. They liked the midnight tea parties, the magical ambience, and of course they liked Toby. Unfortunately, the pink boys got too rowdy and Brian had to throw them out into the garden, which is where they belonged anyway. The Ra learned from the experience in a rarish way, and it quietened down for a bit during the midnight hours. Ras are not naughty or wicked, just energetic. They are also not very discriminating. They like to join into whatever excitement is going on and add energy to it in a way that are pure potential, and they potentialize whatever is happening. Ras are attracted to mobs, rioting, and to meditation groups rising towards ecstasy and to other strong energy states. Ras are a bit like Tigger, a bit like Tigger in the Pooh stories. They bounce, they zoom, and they go off in wild tangents. Brian hasn't painted a wild tangent yet, as far as I know, but I know that what they look like, having encountered more than my share. Think of the Ra as a growling dog. The Ra is an engine revving up. The Ra is a purring cat, and the Ra is ah. As I say, Ras don't discriminate. It's up to us to do that. They put a spark into whatever is happening. It's our choice what we do with it. Start a reading. A Ra in your cards encourages you to be especially attentive to what you are doing with your energy and intentions. Don't get carried away with the Ra's bouncy enthusiasm, but don't take advantage of the energy. You can accomplish a great deal with the energy being made available to you. This is a good time. Note that the Ra is not grounded and is not meant to be, but humans need to keep their feet firmly on the earth. When you encounter the Ra, breathe slowly, center, earth yourself, be clear about your objectives, and then go for them. Really nice cards. Fairies cards by Brian Food. Sending love, light and healing to you all. Hope you're staying in, staying safe and keeping well. God bless to you all. I'll see you again soon.